All right, Dawson, what do you got?
All right, let's start with Diddy because we already mentioned this. Diddy's attorney, Mark Angifilio, tells TMZ that the suicide watch directive issued by the jail officials was merely a routine measure for new high-profile inmates. That kind of makes sense. He says he spent 6 hours with Diddy and at the federal lockup, and the music mogul turned criminal defendant was not at all suicidal. In fact, he says Diddy is strong, healthy, confident, and focused on his descent. He was arrested Monday night in Manhattan.
Focused on his descent? Oh, the
defense. I'm sorry.
Defense.
Focused on his defense.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. God, it seems like a lot there.
Yeah. By a lot there, you mean 784 dildos? Is that what you're talking about?
That's a lot of dildos.
That's how many dildos they took out of his house.
Yeah.
784, bro.
He's got a big house with a lot of rooms.
That's just one room
so there
of
is
dildos.
the dildo room.
You have to have an expansion just for the dildos.
P. Diddy says to his assistant, like, hey, listen, I need my good dildo. And the assistant's like, you got to narrow it down, boss. You got me down to about 300. Right. But I still don't know which one your lucky dildo is.
Right.
You got to put that aside. Yeah, I had a crazy pervert in my apartment unit next to mine just up and leave all of a sudden, and the manager showed up and cleaned his apartment out and then came up to our unit with a giant box of dildos and butt plugs one day and went, you guys got any use for this stuff? We're like 20. Oh. And I was like, yeah, we'll take it. We took it.
What'd you do with them?
Well, there was a huge one. There was a huge dildo that was just, novelty size.
Yeah.
Mantle.
Yeah, is that what they call it?
You put that on the mantle.
No, we put it on the hood of our car. We had a Cadillac, an old Elvis-style Cadillac limousine that we all drove around in. We mounted that to the hood. That was one. And then the other, all I remember is my friend Janie put a strap-on and chased me around the apartment. And it was the first time I really felt violated. Like I understood how a woman feels when she's in that compromised position. And this girl's like 110 pounds.
Oh,
I was going crazy. She jumped on me.
Freak party.
Yeah, we had a freak party.
Freak off. We had a freak off.
Yeah.
Now, Sam alluded to this earlier, but the record executives are just dropping left and right.
Crazy, right?
Warner Music Group, one of the biggest music industry labels out there, that guy just retired. And everyone's saying it's because of Diddy. And they've got these people on tape. Now, the FBI does not do a raid like they did a Diddy raid if they're only after Diddy. Period. Yeah. They're after a lot of other people. Now, with the Epstein thing, you got to take that into account. Maybe the FBI is after it so they can memory hole the tapes and protect the people they want to protect. And I'll tell you what, if Diddy is killed in prison like Epstein was, I would not be surprised because Diddy is most likely going to turn and provide
State's evidence. Yeah, well, okay. My days of trusting the FBI are long gone.
Yeah.
And even, forget about Diddy, forget about Epstein. They have agendas. 51 of former FBI, they all signed a document saying the Hunter Biden laptop is fake. Okay, so they're lying. Or they have an agenda, or they can do what they want. Why is there a document with 51 former and current FBI guys saying this thing doesn't exist or has, all the earmarks of Russia? They all lied. They had it. They knew it. They lied. So anyone who thinks they're above anything, remove that thought from your head. They'll do whatever, whenever. Now, I don't know if they like Diddy. I don't know if there's some folks of theirs who they do like who are on those tapes, but they are not above doing favors for people they like.
Yeah.
I think, can we just establish that?
I think what more and more it's becoming obvious that they're more of just a security for the elites, to protect the elites in certain times, muddy up investigations, things, it's just super. I mean, how many times have we seen where the FBI shows up and then the crime either just disappears or they say they got the guy or they investigate themselves and found they did nothing wrong? Yeah, you're totally right. I have very little faith in anything actually getting done.
We had 51 former and current FBI guys trying to sway an election. Have they followed up on that? Have they found
totally
those
agree.
guys? Did they weed those guys out? Get them out of their positions? Does anyone care? They care as much as they care about COVID, which is fucking zero, which is that this is where we're at.
Yeah, and most of those guys that signed that thing are all working for CNN and MSNBC.
They're just showing up the next day on CNN talking about the next Russian hoax.
Yeah,
That's
what?
great.
It's unbelievable. Benedict Arnold, if he had pulled the stuff they did back then today, he would be a talking head on MSNBC. They would immediately hire him. Then you have that guy. Who's the guy who busted with a Chinese spy? Swalwell, like yelling about all those podcasters taking money from Russian Tonight. It's like, dude, you banged a Chinese spy, bro.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
how do you still have a job? Like, who did you run against in the last election that didn't run on, I promise not to bang Chinese spies?
Well, he ran against a guy who banged 2 Chinese spies. So his platform was, I only fucked 1. And we all voted for him because that was less than the other guy.
Unbelievable.
One more thing about Diddy. They say they're putting him on suicide watch when I think in reality they're probably just putting him in protective custody. But words matter. They use suicide watch. Get that in your head so that when he does kill himself, well, we knew
Set
it was
the
suicidal.
table.
You know when a brother's willing to give up his mama's house for freedom, it's serious, dude. He's like, yeah, you can have the deed to my mother's house. Like, what are we doing here?
Well, it's going to be interesting.
Next up, after decades of decline, gun ownership is rising among Democrats. This coming from the Wall Street Journal. There's some definite bias in this. Let's see if you can pick it out. American gun culture has long been dominated by conservative white men. Now, in a marked change, a burgeoning number of liberals are buying firearms, according to surveys, and fast-growing gun groups, drawing minorities and progressives. It's a group who 5 years ago would never have considered buying a gun, says Jennifer Hubbard, an anthropology professor at Lewis and Clark College in Portland, Oregon, who has researched liberal gun owners. They say,
Well, I mean, Walz and Kamala Harris said were gun owners in their interview a couple of weeks ago. So maybe that.
No, she said something in that Oprah thing. Did you see that? She's like, you come into my house, you're getting shot. She's like, I probably shouldn't have said that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't catch it. I was rambling around. I missed the interview.
Here's the crazy thing, dude. Yeah, you have the sensible gun law people, the defund the cops, and then but they're also all like pro Kamala Harris, like the comics at the Comedy Store. God bless all of them. They were all marching in the defund the police movement, and now they're raising money for a woman who's in a cop secret society. Literally a cop. She got busted being part of this whole. I don't know if you heard about some guy faked being a cop, and he ended up dead.
About Kamala?
Yeah, involved with Kamala. Yeah, 100%. She's part of some secret society of cops, some cop law and order thing. I don't know, but it's just interesting how people flip flop so simple and quickly based upon what the group thing says.
Well, okay, they talk about gun violence all the time, and they go right to schools, but they don't go into the inner city of Chicago where people get shot left and right. So they have a weird gun violence thing that doesn't apply to young black men who are the recipients of the bullets. But they go right to the schools, and they just keep talking about getting the guns out. But they never really tell you the plan for getting the guns out of the inner city where all the shooting is going on. That's number one. Number two, I can give you Emmy. Let's see, is Emmy over there? Byron's over there. You're going to have to figure this out. Maybe I'm Dawson. But if you really want insight into how a lot of these anti-gun people think, they don't think in a linear pattern, so they don't want school shootings, and that's all they talk about. But when you talk about putting armed guards at the school, they don't like that either.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's like they want a secure border, but they don't want a wall. So which is it? You know what I'm saying?
No,
let's get
100%.
consistent. And in one of my books, I did that thing. We pull it up every once in a while. It's been a long time, though, but it was an op-ed from the Los Angeles Times where there was a school shooting and somebody was talking about arming teachers. and they did this whole op-ed about why we don't need to arm teachers, which is something you can discuss, but the person undid their own argument in the middle of their op-ed, which they do all the time because they're so sycophantic and they're so fucking tunnel vision that they don't realize they're fucking up their own argument in the middle of the argument they're making, which they do all the time. It's something you can do when you're super passionate about something, but you don't have any data or information or common sense, then you fuck your own argument up in the middle of the argument. It's in one of my books, not the first 3 or 4, I don't think. And Dawson,
Possibly
we've read
President Me.
Possibly President Me, although I think it's in the book after that. It's a LA Times op-ed, probably about 5-6 years ago, LA Times op-ed about arming teachers. So we can go on that journey. You'll enjoy hearing this lack of logic when this gets read. But Dawson, I'll let you continue with the news.
Well, this might be the first presidential campaign.
Real quick, you want to bring up the FBI. I mean, how many of these school shooters are on the FBI's list? They know all about them, and they never ever stop them ever. They know every time you have a major high impact event. The FBI has been watching these people, and they just never did anything to stop it.
Well, the last one that was stopped because a student resource officer had a gun in school.
Yeah.
And showed it to the shooter, and the shooter said, "Oh, okay, I give up."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't but they don't want that.
Right.
They want to just get rid of all guns.
Guns are bad, okay?
Well, and here's what I'm saying. Fine. But your plan is not doable. Mm-hmm. My plan about having guys who are trained with a gun at the school is much more doable. That's all I'm saying.
Well, this might be the first presidential campaign where the Democratic candidates are the literal face of gun owners, says the Wall Street Journal. Vice President and Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris surprised many during the September 10th debate when she noted, "Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. Harris, a former prosecutor, owns a handgun, while Walz, the Democratic vice presidential nominee, is an avid hunter. Trump, a convicted of a felony, faces the prospect of losing his right to possess a gun. He is scheduled to be sentenced in November." That's a nice
I love it when they run with
ad
the
hominem.
34 counts, 34 payments to a whore.
Yeah.
It's weird they do it with a straight face all the time.
It's their whole talk. Are you going to vote for a felon? Well, let's take a look at it.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the action.
who are we talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, is Martha Stewart a felon? I would vote for her.
Yeah, I have some friends who are felons. They're good people. They made mistakes at one point, but these things are so obviously trumped up, done on purpose to try to persuade weak people not to vote for somebody. That's all it is.
Well, I'm an undecided voter, so if you'd like to talk to me on your podcast,
I
make
would
some
love
time
that.
for you. Well, we have the video, I guess, the Kamala video, at least, with Oprah.
I'm a gun owner. Tim Walz is a gun.
I did not know that.
If
And I thought
somebody
that was
breaks in
powerful.
my house, they're getting shot.
Yes, I hear that. I hear that.
Probably should not have said that.
But
My staff will deal with that later.
I was all wrong about her. She's down with fracking. She's a gun owner. She's tough on the border. I didn't know all these things about her. She's different. I thought she was progressive.
She's a windsock, dude.
The anthropology professor from Oregon received a National Endowment for the Humanities grant last year to research liberal gun owners. She found that gay and transgender gun owners are worried about rising hate crimes, and Jewish people feared potential violence from pro-Palestinian groups. Black gun owners shared similar anxieties, along with a mistrust of police in some areas, and
Should go fire back at the
concerns
cops?
about crime.
Oh,
and,
there's some.
and concerns about crime. I would say that the concern about crime is the number one reason why people are getting guns.
I would say that too.
Yeah,
and we
throw
always
it in
do the
there.
trans and the gay community and violence. Listen, first off, any violent case against the trans community, we are going to hear about.
Yeah. Right.
Now, we're not going to hear about the trans person who shot up the school in Nashville. That we will get no information, no manifesto. That we don't get info. But if there's some gay bashing going on, we're going to find out about it.
Front page.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest gay bashing story there is that they never stopped talking about is the Matthew Shepard story, and that wasn't gay bashing. That's how fucking much they're into it. That guy was a drug addict.
Meth, right?
Yeah.
And they also manipulate the Roe versus Wade's whole case. That she admits that she didn't tell the truth in that whole thing. The whole story about abortions in back alleys, totally made up, not real. Never happened.
We don't need. We're living in a time where we just go with stuff.
Yep.
And we used to. Dawson and I were talking about this on this show, but like there used to be something called lore, campfire stories in the Old West, and Roe v. Wade, they could say back alley abortions. Now we have cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there and like somebody tweeted out a clip of like CNN and they got the one Republican guy sitting there. And they're going, he said he's going to be a dictator day one. He said it's going to be a bloodbath. And the guy's going, he's a joke. It's on camera. You can watch it. And they're going, he said it. He said it. Like, we're in a world where we've turned the corner. There's tape of him saying day one, but only for a day. And all I'm going to do is drill and stiffen up the border and whatever. And then I'm going back, after that. You could watch it if you worked at CNN and you could learn. And they're all yelling at him. He said it. He said it. And it's like, are you just fooling yourself? Like, are you this deep into this, like, neuroses that you think that's what he meant? I didn't think this would continue in a day of high-def footage, but we're here.
And it's manipulation of high-def footage, too. But really what it is like, it's the theory of hate versus real-world consequences, right? The theory of hate is 10 times more dangerous than real shit happening on the ground. That's why I don't think you'll ever see LA, San Francisco, New York, Chicago ever change because of the group thing. The theory of maybe voting for a Republican is 10 times scarier than people at the gas station being mugged. Because if you get mugged at the gas station, it wasn't the consequences of your voting. It's just a bad day and you just were in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Right. All right, Dawson, what else you got?
All right, at least 9 civilians are dead and over, I don't know if I believe these numbers, at least 2,750 people were injured after pager devices owned by a large number of members in various Hezbollah units exploded on Tuesday, according to Lebanese officials. Hezbollah blamed Israel for the attack and vowed that it would respond. The apparent attack.
I like when Israel does something, like they're in the middle of the streets, burning Netanyahu in effigy and yelling, kill the Jews. And then the pager blows up and they go, oh, now it's on.
Right.
Oh, it's on now? People have want us annihilated? People that want us dead and off the map. So now it's on? Well, that's
was that a shout out to our boy, the Unabomber? Huh? I mean, that seems like his modus operandi, right?
I like all the dumb people I spoke to who thought now our phones could explode. When we were just using them in the car, Israel so thought, and I have had to explain to more than one person, there's no explosives in our phones.
Right.
See, they had explosives.
Well, and now Israel has not claimed responsibility for this, but if they did, this is brilliant.
I love it. Warfare. I love terrorists being blown up.
Essentially, they basically infiltrated the supply line. The pagers and phones came from Taiwan, went through Budapest. Somehow Israel, if they did it, got their hands on it, put explosive devices into these, and then they were distributed.
Yeah, and they're only using pagers because they hacked into their phones.
I also think this is also very scary to me. And listen, I have, there's this thing right there where it's like, if we accept things that are done to people we don't like, it will always come around and be used against you. And so there was a situation in which Hastings was a journalist. He'd gone and he was, I forget the name of the general he was working with, but one day he's late night, he's driving and his car just, he's going to put out this book about General Petraeus and the shit that he saw. And then one night his car just flies through the intersection, hits a thing, and it blows up the engine. He's flying so fast that the engine flies 20 feet away. I get nervous, man, at this stuff because it seems indiscriminate, and I just know, and this is what the pro-choice people, when they were telling you, like, hey, dude, body autonomy except for the COVID shot, these things come back and they can be easily used against you. That's my concern.
You know what? I saw an episode of Speed Racer. And pilots were flying in the plane, and all of a sudden they went dead, and they pulled the earphones off, and two metal spikes came out of both, so someone could rig these cans right here and take out the ace man.
It's possible.
It's possible. All right, what book was that in? You find the book? Nah, it must be. It's in that book.
It is.
It's in I'm Your Emotional Support Animal. Oh, you know that, Emmy?
I'm checking out your transcript now. I'm just trying to find it on here. But yeah, it seems like it's this book here.
Oh, it's on the computer somewhere. Oh, I've written so many books, I can't keep track.
How many books you got?
Well,
7?
I always say 6, but no, 7, because I think me and Dr. Drew wrote a book a long time ago.
Oh, that's nice.
So I'd say 7 books.
7
Hezbollah
books.
says, we hold the Israeli enemy fully responsible for this criminal aggression,
I love it.
which also targeted civilians
Nah.
and led to the deaths of a number of martyrs. And,
Well, they're martyrs
and the
now.
injury Of,
Yeah.
of a large number with various wounds.
Good.
Yeah.
Kill them all.
Hire that guy.
Cannot negotiate with those people because they want you dead. Then you think they want something. The something they want is you dead. That's the problem. That's the fundamental problem with negotiations. All right.
I'm hearing this is embarrassing on a global, I mean, just totally embarrassing for the Lebanese people and Hezbollah.
Yeah. Well, what it does, I mean, really, is it's got to make you paranoid about everything, right? Mm-hmm. And it's got to make you stop. Look, what they did to them with the exploding pagers is basically what the shoe bomber did to us. You know, some fucking nut job tried to light his shoe on fire, blow his shoe up on a commercial flight 18 years ago. Now we're all taking our shoes off.
Well, I mean, the Unabomber
so we have,
still.
yeah, they just grind us to a halt. What the terrorists, I just experienced it this weekend. Just fucking stood in line, got pat down, take the shoes off. I'm standing in a mass. I have spent, I would say, 9 years standing in line at an airport. I'm not a bomber. I'm not a terrorist. And I would reckon to say I've never seen one in an airport ever and never will. You could travel to 1,000 airports for 1,000 years and wait in 1,000 hours and there'd never be a terrorist.
Right.
But we do it because they scared us.
Right.
And now we dance for the retarded piper.
Right.
So now we scared them and they're going to have to check their shit now.
Yeah, and 100, like, sometimes, like, you don't do pre-check? You're not a pre-check guy?
I do clear.
You should do pre-check, man.
I do. Yes, I do
guy.
pre-check and clear. Though sometimes pre-check like falls off the.
Depending on the airport,
it can be a little wanky sometimes.
But sometimes the lines are so long at the airport. I'm like, let's risk it, dude. Let me get on my plane. If there's a terrorist there, we'll fuck them up and we'll land this plane. Let's roll.
Oh. Your airline would be called Roll the Dice Airline.
Roll the dice,
and the
dude.
saying is, let's roll under it. Big letters, right? I'd fucking fly that.
Yeah, let's go, dude. Fuck it, man. I mean, that whole story is crazy anyways, dude. I mean, like, if you're on a plane and guys got box cutters and you're like, there's no way this is going to end well, let's go, bro. I mean, 100%. I don't buy that story at all.
All right, Dawson.
This is from I'm Your Emotional Support Animal.
All right, this is an op-ed from the LA Times on the subject of arming teachers.
The op-ed says, we listen to the bleatings of the gun enthusiasts that, well, if those teachers had guns, then this wouldn't have been as bad. Been as bad. Think about that. If a pistol-strapping chemistry teacher had grabbed her .45 and unloaded on today's gunman after he killed, what, 1 student? 3? 5? That would be good news?
Well, Okay. I think 13 kids died.
Yeah.
So if the pistol-strapping chemistry teacher put a cap in this guy's head after one student has died, then it would be better, op-ed person. She's literally arguing against herself. You understand? I mean, just read that. I guess I'm trying to think of what event this was. It was a school shooting.
After the Parkland shooting.
All right, how many people died in Parkland? And you can figure that out. But the person's point is if this part... Okay. Yes, it would be better.
Yeah,
then it would be
100%. It would be, there's a famous video of a guy walking into a church with a gun, and you see like 3 people in the church has guns, and they're all just like bang, 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 and the guy's down before he could do any real damage.
Right. But read that again. Just listen to this. It's logic.
We listen to the bleatings of the gun enthusiasts that, well, if those teachers had guns, then this wouldn't have been as bad.
17 dead. Go ahead.
Been as bad.
17 injured, probably shot, and then 17 dead. All right.
Think about that.
Think about it.
If a pistol-strapping chemistry teacher had grabbed her .45 and unloaded on today's gunman after he killed, what, 1 student? 3? 5?
All better than 17, right?
Yeah.
That would be good news?
Yes. It would be good news for all the parents.
Yeah, what is this person talking about?
You got to find out this person's name.
Yeah,
she went full tard mode.
Yeah.
I wonder what she's doing today.
So-
but anyway, we're supposed to come to her for wisdom?
Yeah, it's so ridiculous. That's like when all these people were putting out all these TikTok videos breaking down like if Trump is in office and everything they listed was awesome.
Right.
Like trying to scare people not to vote for them. They're like, if he gets in office, he's gonna deport all the illegals. Okay, got my vote. Let's go.
Yep, fracking. Sorry, continue.
Would you want to hear your response here?
Yeah, let's hear my response.
Of course it would be good news, you fucking imbeciles. If you were student number 6 who didn't die because some adult was armed, that would be very fucking good news. Whoever wrote this is an insane person. I was the worst student at North Hollywood High. If I was part of the LA Times editorial team, I'd have stood up in that meeting and said, hey, fuck sticks, we're shitting on our own point. In their attempt to make the case against guns, they made a very compelling argument for arming teachers. They must have been amazing in speech and debate club in high school.
Yeah, so these people are so indoctrinated, they don't even realize what they sound like.
Yeah.
I mean, the editor should have read this op-ed and went, hey, bitch, you're arguing against yourself, and you're making every reason in the world for us to arm teachers with your op-ed against arming teachers. So go start again. Go pick another angle. This one ain't it.
Yeah. And you can tell this person doesn't have a kid. Because if you have a kid, you're like, yeah, man, I would love it if they only lost 1 person instead of 17 people. Like, what kind of math are you doing in your head that you think it's what? I would love to know what she think the answer would be of a good option or a good thing working out, which is no one should have guns. You never get rid of guns. It's never going to happen. We've outlawed drugs. They're everywhere. We've outlawed everything. They're everywhere. There always is a black market for these things. You're only taking guns away from good people.
You got that color right. All right. Do we I wonder who wrote this? I wonder if we could ever find it. I wonder if it's findable. I wonder if she's employed. She can't still be. I think it's a woman, but she can't
gotta
still
be a woman.
It's got to be a woman. That's right. There's a lot of dudes who think like chicks, though.
They're now, yeah, they're coming, yeah.
It's out there. That could have been something Gavin Newsom wrote.
Yeah, for sure.
Or Mayor Garcetti.
I love that Gavin Newsom wants to get rid of guns as he's surrounded by security that's armed.
Oh, yeah. No, always got to have
It's unbelievable to me.
Always. All right, you got another story?
Yeah, we got one more here.
One more.
Hip-hop producer Pharell or Pharell Williams?
I think it's Pharrell.
Pharrell Williams is annoyed by celebrity political endorsements. He says, I don't do politics. In fact, I get annoyed sometimes when I see celebrities trying to tell you who to vote for. He said this in a new interview in the wake of celebrities taking a stance on the election. Pop star Taylor Swift dominated headlines last week when she endorsed Kamala Harris, who has a host of other A-list supporters on her campaign.
Yeah.
Well, listen, the celebrity endorsement is sort of gone the way of Scientology. It just doesn't have any sway or power.
Yeah.
Not
Used to
anymore.
be able to they would say, don't say anything about Scientology. They will fuck you up. They will ruin your world. And now everyone just talks shit about Scientology, makes fun of Scientology.
Yeah.
And now celebrity endorsements, all we do is make fun of the celebrity that endorsed whomever. That's the new world order. So they don't mean anything anymore. I'm with Pharrell.
Yeah.
Pharrell says there are celebrities that I respect that have an opinion, but not all of them. I'm one of them people who says, what the heck, shut up. Nobody asked you.
Well, the whole thing about like last season and Taylor Swift and the Kansas City Chiefs, and everyone's like, dude, this is annoying. We just want to watch football. And then you had all these talking heads in sports talk, like gaslighting you that dude, you're just a Neanderthal. You're a knuckle dragger. She's not doing anything. And no, we were like, the whole thing's going to be like her being shown every 2 seconds at the end of the Super Bowl when they win. It's going to be Travis Kelce and her making out, which is going to be a big moment. And then she's going to endorse the Democratic nominee. And every moment of that, everything conspiracy theorists and people just wanted to watch football said was going to happen, literally happened. She's a political talking head. We don't want to see sports is bread and circus. Just let us enjoy our numbed out sports entertainment. We don't need politics into it.
All right, you've earned a plug with that, Jag. Sam Tripoli, Quiet. It's coming out October 15th. That's special YouTube and X and wherever you find Sam as well. Louisville, Kentucky coming up October 11th and 12th.